Hey guys, welcome to the inaugural episode of Hardcore Harry Reviews Some Shit. Today the shit we're reviewing is the new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. I think we should get this started with 3 words. Morphin' time! Alright, now that those putties have been fought up, we can get to this review. As you may be able to tell from the shirt and this now half-empty display and that spectacular display of martial arts that I just gave you, I am in fact a huge Power Rangers fan. I've been looking forward to this movie since they first started talking about it a few years ago, and as the days got closer, I got more and more excited. I could sum this whole movie up in one word, and that's wow. But I promised you guys a little more than that, so here it is. Wow, that movie was freaking awesome. Let's start with the story. It definitely followed the original origin, but it was different too. It wasn't just a rehash, it was actually different, gave fans of a new generation something to like, and gave us old fans something to enjoy too. There was a lot of nostalgia, couple cameos, but it wasn't overbearing with it. It was, for all intents and purposes, its own movie, and that's what I wanted to go in seeing it as. I wanted to review it as not just a Power Rangers movie, but an actual movie to see if, do I like it because it's Power Rangers, or do I like it because it's a good movie? And honestly, it is a mix of both. Being a Power Rangers fan, I was probably going to like whatever they put up there, but it wasn't just good because it was a Power Rangers movie. It was good because it was a good movie. It had a very I Am Number 4 feel to it. A lot better than I Am Number 4, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed that movie a lot, but it felt like that. You could definitely tell it was geared towards teens, but they didn't forget about us hardcore fans either. They kind of took a leap of faith with the actors. Other than Elizabeth Banks and Bryan Cranston, they kind of went with relatively unknown actors, which can either be awesome and produce the next batch of stars, or it can backfire and make a movie completely suck. In this case, I think we're going to see more than one of them in more movies in the future. DeCree's portrayal of Jason was awesome. Completely different take on Jason than Austin St. John's, but very good. You'll enjoy him, I think, a lot. A lot more depth to the character than the original Red Ranger, which in the TV show it's for kids. How much depth are they getting into? But they went very deep into his character, and it's very awesome. Breakout star of the movie, easily R.J. Cyler as Billy. His character's a lot better than in the TV show. Not that there's anything wrong with David Yost's character, but they added a lot more to it. I think it's going to be most people's favorite character. But wasn't just the character. He did a very, very good job of acting, and I think we're going to see him in a lot more movies. If he can perform like he did in this movie with other characters, we're definitely seeing the next big star. You heard it here first. Hardcore Harry says R.J. Cyler is Hollywood's next big star. Don't forget about me when you get there, bud. Ranger-wise, the only one that kind of hard to tell was Becky G as the Yellow Ranger. She didn't do a bad job. It's just she didn't have a whole lot of lines. I don't know why that is, but it was kind of hard to judge her on the few lines she had. She didn't do a terrible job. She just didn't stand out, and I think that was because she didn't have enough lines. I'd like to see more from her in the sequel, which I think there will definitely be, and they definitely set up for it. So kind of hard to tell, but I think she'll be good. Needless to say, Bryan Cranston did an awesome job as Zordon, just as he does with every other role he's in. Completely different take on Zordon, not what I was expecting at all, but it does kind of give a better backstory, gives a little more depth, and I think he's going to be closer to the Zordon we know and love in the next movie. Elizabeth Banks was kind of the wild card. You either love or you hate Elizabeth Banks. And she looked good as Rita, but none of us really knew if she was going to perform it well. But she definitely did a great job as Rita. She fit the role perfectly. Different than the traditional Rita Repulsa, but definitely fit the role well. Did a great job as a villain. One more thing I want to touch on involving Rita. I don't want to give away any spoilers here, but this one's all over the internet already. It's been all over the internet apparently. She is actually the Green Ranger. It's not as bad as you think. When I first heard it, I thought they ruined the movie, but they didn't. It's not bad at all. You honestly don't even notice, I promise. And now, on to the bad. All actually really isn't any bad. Just a few nitpicks I have. One isn't even a nitpick anymore, so I'll start with that. The suits. I think seeing the promos, the trailers, previews, all that, we all kind of thought, wow, those suits look a little weird, a little alien, but seeing them in action, they're not at all. They actually are really cool. The Zords. Once again, watching the promos and the previews and the trailers, we all kind of looked and said, oh, yeah, those don't really look like the dinosaurs they're supposed to be. I figured once the movie comes out, you see them in action, you'll be able to tell. But not really, actually. They still don't look that great. They're not terrible. They just look more like Transformers. You can't tell what the Mastodon or the saber-toothed tiger are at all. The T-Rex is a little iffy. The Triceratops, you can see and tell it's Triceratops, but it's still questionable. The Pterodactyl, though, you can at least look at it and be like, hey, that's Pterodactyl, I think. So that Pterodactyl is definitely the best looking out of all of them. The Megazord, not what I was expecting. Still a little alien looking, but pretty badass. I think I just, in my head, I have a certain look of how the Megazord should be, but that's my own thing. Overall, it looked very good. Last little nitpick was Goldar. I was kind of hoping they did a little more with Goldar. Another thing that kind of got out online, the toys actually kind of spoiled that, is that Goldar is a Zord. I don't want to go too much more into it because I don't want to spoil anything, but he is more of a Zord. He's more Rita's Zord than anything else. So, all that being said, I give the movie 2 thumbs up, an affirmative, and a more phenomenal, because other than my little nitpicks, which do not take away from the movie, they're just my little nitpicks, it was great, and I definitely recommend going out to see it, and maybe I'll see you there, because I'm probably going to see it at least 3 more times. So, thank you for watching this video. This has been Hardcore Harry. This has been my review of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I'll see you guys in the next video.